We've done that. Like I've done that in one business where we just came in and we paid our affiliates so much we didn't make very much, and it kind of sucked for about the first 6 months. But eventually, we actually literally caused an entire our biggest competitor to shut down their affiliate program. They could not compete. We knew that. We knew their cost of goods were too high, and we knew that they were not willing to not make a certain amount of money. And eventually, we forced them to close their affiliate program. So we got all of their affiliates.
Welcome to Show Me the Nuggets, where each week Joe chats with world-class entrepreneurs to find out the key principles, strategies, and processes that lie behind their outstanding achievements. Now, your host, the no bullshit serial entrepreneur, Joe Troyer.
Hey everybody, it's Joe Troyer and welcome to another episode of Show Me the Nuggets. I'm super excited to have a special guest here, Matt McWilliams, and we're going to be talking about how to scale your business to 7 figures or 8 figures by building a partner program. And that could be a resource partner program, that could be an affiliate program. And I'm really excited because Matt has an awesome background building out partner programs and affiliate programs. In fact, my team did some digging, and Matt's been doing this stuff for a long time. So we found that actually he got an award by Affiliate Summit in the Pinnacle Awards for Affiliate Manager of the Year. And he actually got another award or a program that he was working with got an award here. It says the most improved affiliate program. And guys, affiliate program could be partner program, resource program, etc. And we'll get into that in a second. But know that there is a way to grow your business with a one-to-many type of relationship where you're paying out based upon results and money collected. So Matt, man, without further ado, welcome to the show.
Hey, thanks for having me, Joe.
So I'm really excited to have you because I feel like in our world, in my world anyways, people always think of affiliate programs as I'm going to promote the affiliate. And that's how I'm going to monetize my traffic. But most people have not turned around the equation in their mind and thought about being on the other end and actually running an affiliate program for themselves or running a partner program for themselves. So I'm really excited today to really unpack that side of it, because I feel like 99.9% of the training out there is the other side. And people have never really thought about how they could set this up for themselves.
Yeah, I mean, it's so important because just if you look at the statistics, for most businesses, there are rare exceptions. For most businesses, it's not only the lowest cost of acquisition outside of just word of mouth. Word of mouth is free, but you look at whether it's, go back, radio advertising, television advertising, stuff like that, Facebook ads, LinkedIn ads. Like with affiliate marketing, typically you're paying a percentage depending upon the product. Greatly depends. But you're paying a commission that's under 50%. You're paying a commission that's anywhere from 5 to 40%, typically, again, depending upon the product. Digital products that don't have a cost of goods are going to be higher, 30 or 40. Physical products are going to be in the 5 to 15% range. Try acquiring a customer, typically, for that kind of cost. That's why when you look at it, it's usually the lowest cost, acquisition channel. It's also the lowest risk. Because here's the thing, newsflash, Zuckerberg takes your money before you make anything. If you run an ad, during the Super Bowl, the NFL is not like, hey, here's what we're going to do. It's going to cost you $5.2 million, but you're only going to pay on the money you bring in. So if your ad only brings in $4 million, you only owe us $2 million. They don't do that. No, you're paying $5.2 million or whatever it is these days, some outrageous fee, up front before you make any money. So it's got the lowest risk. It also has the most, scalability. Like, there's a finite number of people with most products, toilet paper being an exception, ketchup being an exception, commoditized, consumer goods are always the exception. But with most products and services, let's just say you sell, give me an example from some, just name a client of yours or somebody that maybe give me an example.
Yeah, so one of my clients, for example, is an agency, and they're in one vertical, and they do about $7 million a year.
Okay, so there's a finite number of people they can target on Facebook for that agency. If you're in, even like something as ubiquitous as like homeowners insurance, I think we're under at 50% homeownership now. So less than half the population is even a target for your service, let alone the fact that you only write insurance, say, in the state of Illinois. and you only write homes over $300,000 who've had one or less claims in their life, like maybe that's what your company's sweet spot is, how do you target those on Facebook? You don't. But with affiliates, it's infinitely scalable because there's only so many people you can target on Facebook. And I use Facebook as the example. It could be talking about television ads. You can talk about LinkedIn ads. It could be anything for that matter. Instagram ads. Doesn't matter. There's only so many people you can target profitably. But with affiliates, we've promoted offers, to my list as an affiliate. We've promoted offers to my list, Joe, that weren't super targeted, but we promoted it. We made that company a bunch of money, and half the sales they made were to people they never would have targeted on Facebook or with any sort of advertising, because we took on the risk of maybe this won't work, but they weren't willing to. And so, I mean, it really it makes sense, and it's what's allowed. Every company I've ever run, this is my fourth company now, every company we've ever run, we built it on, on affiliates. That's why I teach this stuff now, because I'm like, every time we did it out of necessity. We tried it every other way, Joe. I'm going to tell you right now, my first company, we tried it every other. This is back in 2004, so don't laugh. We tried banner ads. We tried, yellow page advertisement. We tried everything, and then we sat there one weekend and looked at each other and went, we have $5,000 in our bank account. We are like 2 weeks away from just this business ends. We don't have any investors. We've tapped our credit cards and everything out. I was like 25, so I didn't have any money. We were tapped out. What are we going to do? And I'd heard about these people called affiliates, and went out and spent the whole weekend. It was Memorial Day weekend 2005 or 2004, 2005, don't remember. It was Memorial Day weekend, 2005. And I went out, spent the whole weekend learning how to find affiliates and actually finding affiliates. And it's what saved our company. Now, we did it out of necessity. I'm trying to help people do it before they get to that point.
Yeah. Dude, that's awesome. I'm so excited to dive in. I think that building out an affiliate program is an absolute no-brainer. I know that in my multiple businesses, like you said, it's one of the easiest ways to get started. I know that I can build a business to $500,000, $1 million a year just on partners with very little effort, right? Just by a couple of really key important relationships. So I'm super excited to pick your brain now that you've done this multiple times.
Hey, real quick, before we dive into the rest of this episode, real quick, I promise my team and I would like to personally thank you, our audience, yes, you listening right now, for all the amazing support that you guys have been giving the podcast. The growth has been just crazy, and I want you to know that we're super, super appreciative to you. So we've been trying to think of something cool that we could do to give back to our audience, to give back to you guys. And I think we've come up with something that's really, really unique. It's something that's special. So here's the thing. The team here at Digital Triggers, my own little team here, has decided that we're going to give away a gift pack that includes our top of the line resources to sell SEO, right? We know that so many of you guys out there are agencies. This is going to literally give you contracts, proposals, pitches, scripts that you guys can use, outreach templates. It's a pack of assets and collateral for anybody wanting to sell SEO services or marketing services to any type of business, not just local businesses. This has been used to land e-com deals, all kinds of deals out there. So if you didn't hear that, let me make it a little more clear. Okay, our Digital Triggers family is giving you some of the best of the content and the resources that we've ever put together, absolutely free, just for listening to the podcast. Okay, all that you have to do is go to digitaltriggers.io/gift pack. And you are good to go, folks. It is that simple. We'll make sure that this page is up and ready for you guys by the time this episode airs. And with that being said, let's get back to the episode. All right, that was all right. I think that went okay.
Before we go deep, let's talk about how it all got started, right? And you gave us a little background, but tell us how you ended up in this affiliate marketing industry.
A total accident, like I said. We started a company. Our business was we sold leads to insurance agents. This is back we started in 2004. Our biggest two competitors were both publicly traded companies. The third one was owned by a hedge fund. We were the little guy. The industry was very small. We were one of about 6 companies in the industry at the time. We were the smallest, and when I say the smallest, like we hadn't even had our first $1,000 day yet. We were tiny, and so one of our Our biggest competitor just hit 100 million. So we're on pace to do about 200,000 that year, just to give you some perspective of the gap between us and them. We're 500th the size of our biggest competitor. We're 150th the size of the next smallest competitor, roughly. So we're the new guy. We're starting out. And like I said, we did everything to try to acquire leads, to be able to get people to come to our website, fill out a form. We did SEO, and that kind of got us. The thing about SEO is it takes some time, search engine optimization. It takes some time, but when the spigot gets turned on, it's free, and that's good. So we're getting like we're making like $200-300 a day for free. So that's nice. The problem was we really needed to make about $1,000 a day profit just to kind of cover our expenses, and we weren't. And so like I said, we were sitting there. I remember it was a Saturday morning, Memorial Day weekend, 2005. We're sitting there. We're like, okay, we have like 2 weeks left, maybe 3. We're not bringing enough money. What are we going to do? And I had just heard about affiliate marketing. And again, like you mentioned at the beginning, I heard about it from the other perspective. Like you could go promote a company and make some money. And I'm like, well, one of the things that we had a lot of was we had a lot of people who would complete the lead and we didn't have an agent to sell it to. So I was like, what if at the end we sent them to another company to fill out another form, like, hey, we couldn't find an agent, but here's a company that can, and we'll be able to monetize them. I was like, well, if they filled out a homeowner's insurance lead, what could we also say, here's a company that we recommend to go get a mortgage, because one of the number one reasons why people look for homeowners insurance is because they're buying a new home. So I was like, okay, those are great. That's going to add on an extra $50 to $100 a day to our bottom line, which wasn't any small thing. I mean, that was increasing our revenue by 20 to 25%, and of course that would scale. So that was kind of cool. But I was like, wait a minute, they have an affiliate program. Very few, like nobody in our industry had one at that time. Actually, no, I'll take that back. The largest company did. They had a big one. And maybe I'll be able to tell a story about how we stole a bunch of their affiliates later. But I was like, nobody's doing this. And there are very few affiliate programs back then, probably, a couple hundred. I mean, compared to literally 100,000 plus today. Like name a company, pretty good chance they have an affiliate program now.
For sure.
So we're like, we should start this. And I remember we can't, I'm like, I go off, I'm like, yeah, you don't pay anything until you bring it. Well, that's huge for us because we don't have any money to pay, like this I remember company Bell South, not picking on Bell South, but I don't even know if they exist anymore. I think they got rolled into one of the 800 other companies. They were like, yeah, if you pay us $5,000, we'll put up your banner ads all over, the internet. And we're like, that's all of our money, and that was their minimum buy. That was for banner ads. So we did it, of course, and then made $8. And I don't mean we made $5,000 and $8. I mean, we lost $4,992. So that anyway, I'm like, we don't have to spend anything on the front end, right? That's awesome. There's no risk because if somebody promotes us and they don't send any leads, we don't lose anything. I'm like, it's really just a relationship. We don't have to set up, like, we're already functional. We don't have to set up anything. Oh, well, we do have to set up the tracking. We have to create an affiliate program. So I messaged our programmer who was overseas. I was like, how long would it take you to set up an affiliate program? And he's like, well, the code's basically there. It would take me about a day. I can, turn on, I've already built it into the system. I'm like, awesome. Glad you thought of that. We didn't even know it existed. So good for you. So about a day later, we had a functional affiliate program. And I'm like saying all these things like, and it would be this, and we don't have to target, like we don't have to worry about targeting because this is 2005. There was no real targeting back then. Like, it was like the wild, wild west of internet. Now you can get like so hyper targeted that you're only targeting like, men age 32 to 35 with 2.7 kids and their favorite football teams in the NFC West, and so you can get so targeted that you forget that you need to expand a little bit.
Yeah.
But anyway, we couldn't target back then. So we could target because they do all the targeting for us because I don't really care if their ads don't work because we don't have to pay for them. I mean, we're like so excited. And then Hunter, our CEO, looks at me and goes, how do we find affiliates? And I'm like, oh, I didn't think about that.
Yeah.
So literally, like I said, for about 18 hours a day, I mean, that meeting ended shortly after lunch on Saturday. I was at the office till well after midnight, got there at like 7 o'clock the next morning, all day Sunday, all day Monday, all day Memorial Day, like skipped the barbecues, didn't eat a hot dog. I don't even know if I ate the whole weekend. Lived at the office basically for 3 straight days. Tuesday morning, actually Monday evening, we got our first affiliate Tuesday morning. I set them up, got them as links. Tuesday afternoon, we had our first lead. I still remember the guy's name. His name was Brandon Young. Brandon Young. From East, where is he from? West North Carolina, someplace in Western North Carolina. Hey, Matt, it's Brandon. He called me up. First month, he only made about $300 with us, but we made, about 200. We made about $200. We also got more Brandons and some more people and some more people. And so that's kind of how I got into the space. I mean, that's over 15 years ago now. But next thing you know, a year and a half later, we were running a $12.5 million affiliate program.
Wow.
And I don't really remember a whole lot. It happened so fast, what happened over the next year and a half. But that's how I got into it, Joe.
That's awesome. So if you were to consult or work with a company like now, knowing what you do, and you were to help implement like a playbook in their business to build out an affiliate program, what's the 80-20? Like what are the 3 or 4 or 5 things that you got to do well, and like you'll conquer the affiliate world?
Yeah, number one is, where do you find affiliates? You got it. And the 80-20 is, you focus on 3 areas. If you have customers, start with them.
Okay.
In most industries, again, some of what I'm going to focus on 3 places to find affiliates. We have a whole free report we'll talk about later where there's 15 places, but some of these don't apply to everyone. Like I tell people all the time, maybe you should work with nonprofits. Nonprofits make good affiliates. And they're like, well, that doesn't work in my industry. Okay, well, what about one of the other 14 places? But number one, start with your customers. If you have customers, turn them into affiliates. This particularly works really well with retail products, digital courses, services. Most things. There are a few examples where it might not work as well. Can't think of any, but that's number one. Number two, look at your competitors' affiliates and go steal them. Like literally, you go to this website. I don't know if you've ever heard of it. It's called Google. You go to Google, you type in the name of your biggest competitors, maybe add the word affiliate or partner or commission. Here's the reason: they should be disclosing that they're an affiliate when they promote them. We won't get into that, but that's why we type those extra words in. If you're in a niche where, your biggest competitor is Walmart, what I just said only works if you add the word affiliate, because Walmart's too ubiquitous. Like Walmart's mentioned a million times in the news every day. If you're in a niche where, let's say you're in the digital course niche and your biggest competitor is, such and such, you can probably just type in the name of the course, and 8 out of 10 results will be an affiliate. So this kind of depends on how popular. So focus on literally going and siphoning off, some of your partners or your biggest competitors' affiliates. That's what I did. And that is the quickest way to get your first 5 to 10 medium to small sized affiliates that are going to make you anywhere from a few hundred to a few thousand. Again, we're talking about the 80-20. How do we go quick? How do we just get it proof of concept? And there's some there's a certain email that we send. There's a very specific structure to this email, which we'll get into. But this initial reach out, you want it to be super short, and we've got a template in that report. But so number one, your customers. Number two, your competition's affiliates. And then number 3 are people who are what you might consider to be competitors. But you find a way to be co-opetition, not competition. So the best example of this is, there was a company I came into back in 2009, started actually working for them for about a year. It's the only company I've ever worked for since turning 19. Otherwise, I've always been an entrepreneur, but I actually was an employee of the company. And I came in on the very first day. I was looking at this. And I was like, what are we doing? Blah, blah, blah. And I was like, okay, I want to go to every one of our competitors, because we were the most expensive course in guitar training by a factor of 3. We were also the best, the most detailed. We were also the most universal. We covered everything from just guitar theory, music theory, to how to play blues guitar, jazz guitar, fingerstyle guitar, whatever, electric guitar, acoustic guitar. I was like, I want to go to Dan Denley, who has a blues guitar course. And I want to say, Dan, here's what I want to do. Lesson 14 in our course is all about blues guitar. At the end of lesson 14, I want to go to them and say, hey, you may want to go more in depth into blues guitar. Here's a course we recommend.
Yep.
And I want to promote you. In return, and you're going to pay us, a 40% commission. You're going to pay us $40 because his course is only $100. You're going to pay us $40. In return, I want you to promote us to your list to anybody who hasn't bought your course within 6 months or bought your course more than 90 days ago. For the first 6 months of that relationship, you focus on selling your course. But if they still haven't bought your course, there's a reason. It's probably they're probably never going to buy your course. So recommend something else. So then we went to, and then if they bought your course more than 90 days ago, you go to them and say basically the opposite of what we said. Hey, I've taught you blues guitar. If you want to learn other styles, go grab this course. I want to go to the membership that charges $7 a month, a company called Ultimate Guitar. And I want to go to Ultimate Guitar and say, hey, what you guys do is you teach people how to play the 4-chord songs. You know, if you know anybody who knows anything about guitar, you know it's G, E minor, D, and C. Like find me Wonderwall or Good Riddance from Green Day or Brown Eyed Girl, right? Like I can teach anybody how to play those, and I don't even play guitar that much, you know? Like I can look at a song and go, if it's only got those 4 chords, I'm good. Like I can play those all day long and sound like I can play at the beach, like and sound like I'm professional, right? Because that's really all most people want to do when they play guitar. But you have people who are like, I want to get more serious about this. And you're just teaching them how to play the 4-chord songs. So how about this? You recommend them to us. So we just went to all of our competitors and turned them into partners and took that program from about a $1.2 million a year affiliate program to a $4.5 million affiliate program in a matter of a year. And so your customers, your competitors' affiliates, and your actual competitors, because I never looked at Ultimate Guitar as a competitor. We had a $200 course. They have a $7 a month membership. We're not even playing the same sport. We're not competing for the same customer. And the same was true of us. We would go to people and say, hey, you've been on our email list, because we had 50,000 people on our email list who never bought a thing from us. That was the other thing we built when I got there, was we started building an email list of non-customers. And we went to them and said, hey, you haven't really bought any, this is not the exact language, but effectively you haven't bought anything from us. Maybe it's because our course is $200 and you don't have $200. Here's Ultimate Guitar. For $7 a month, you can learn to play the 4-chord songs. Great way to start. We recommend them. Go sign up. And the cool thing about it is they'd go over there, they'd play the 4-chord songs, they'd get hooked, and what they do, they'd come back to us. And we actually found that 22% of the people they referred to us originated in a referral from us. We turn them into customers by sending them to someone else. It's totally like you can't do that with Coke and Pepsi. And that's what you have to understand is in most industries, not all, most industries aren't Coke and Pepsi. Most industries aren't Ford and Chevy. You know, how often do you buy a new car? I don't know. The average person, I'm just going to guess, buys a new car every 7 years. That's just a guess. I have no idea. We buy one about every 6 years. So sure. The last car we bought was either going to be an Acura RDX or the Lexus RX or whatever. There were only 2 cars. One company won and one company lost. No, it happened to be the RDX, by the way. Just a side note. Great car. We're probably going to buy another one. Okay, but that's not the point. One company won and one company lost. There was no way for them to work together. Like, hey, I realize you didn't buy the RDX, but you're on email. Let me recommend the Lexus RX. You know, like that doesn't happen in that world because there's not enough to go around. But in most industries, there's enough to go around, and you can work with your competition. So that's the 80-20 in terms of where to start finding affiliates.
I love that. So after you find affiliates, what's the next thing? I guess pitching affiliates, right? So when it comes to an effective pitch, Matt, what gets an affiliate's attention, right? What's the thing to open the door so that you can actually have a conversation?
Yeah, I mean, the most important thing is you got to get the first email read. There's a couple of secrets there. Number one, you're actually not trying to get them to say yes in the first email. That's the biggest mistake I see. So it's like, I have this company and we started in 1984 and it was started by my grandfather. Oh, by the way, my grandfather's favorite color is purple. And now what happens is this email goes along and we have this feature and this feature and this feature and this feature. When's the last time you read an email? This isn't even fitting on camera. When's the last time you read an email from somebody you don't know that's that long? What if it was that long? Would you give it a quick look? Of course.
Of course.
The first email that you send, effectively, again, we've got a template we can share with everybody that's in this PDF, but the first email basically says, hey, here's why I'm reaching out to you. Here's what I have. Can I share more info? It's a 3 or 4 sentence email, 4 at the absolute most. We're not looking for them to say yes. Some people will say no. Every now and again, we'll get a yes. Typically, the yeses that I get these days are from people I have an existing relationship with. But I would say maybe 1 out of 100 people that I reach out to cold, they just were so hot and maybe they were already thinking about, oh gosh, I was actually hoping somebody would reach out to me. I mean, it does happen, you know? So they say yes. Well, you're looking for my favorite 3 words, Joe. Tell me more. Because now what you've done is you've opened the door to a conversation. They've now given you permission to write an email this long. It's never that long. It's never, like 800 words. But they've given you permission to say, okay, here's the deal. Here's my product, and here's who it serves. Here's how it helps them. Here's how it's similar to this thing that maybe you promoted before if we're reaching out to a competitor's affiliates. But here's how it's different. That's important. You want to acknowledge that you're not trashing the other company. You just lose them right away. Like, oh yeah, you're an idiot. You're promoting something that's crap. You just say, here's how it's similar. It's very similar to this, but it's different in that the light shines brighter, and also the light bulbs last 25% longer, and that's good for the environment. Whatever. You give the details, like we pay a 30% commission, and it's a lifetime cookie. That means that they get paid forever. For the lifetime of the purchasers. And you can earn up to $19.14 a sale on this $60 product or whatever the math is. Let me know if you have any questions. Now, the key is when you reach out that first time, we all know this hopefully about email or any form of communication. It could be an Instagram direct message, it could be a Facebook message, it could be a tweet, it could be whatever. You're going to hear back from about 5 or 6% of people. And so we follow up every 8 days for 10 times. There's the only reason we pick 8 days is then you're following up on a different day of the week. That's literally the only reason. It's also kind of around that time when open rates tend to completely go to almost zero. Most emails are open within 5 days. Yeah. There's some stragglers on day 6 and 7. So we mail them on day 8. If it's a really high value prospect, then after about 5 or 6 emails, we stick to email initially because, most people when they're doing this, if you've got millions of dollars lying around, totally cool, then skip to step 2. Most people doing this don't. When I first did it, we literally had like a couple $1,000 and we kind of needed that to pay people. So maybe you're in the middle. So we start off with email because it's quick, it's easy, it's free, but eventually we'll go to physical mailings and we'll reach out to them. But the biggest thing is that first email, it's got to be short and sweet. You're not looking for a yes. It is absolutely no more than 4 sentences. And then, that's how you reach out. For your customers, you reach out to them, and it's kind of the same thing. With your customers, it's not a cold reach out. So you have a little bit more leeway. Maybe it's 5 or 6 sentences, but you're still not trying to write a book to them. You're just trying to get them to start that conversation about this new transaction. If it's a competitor, literally, I've perfected this over the years. We will reach out, and it's like, I'll give you the exact email that I would use today if I were reaching out to Dan Dinley. I probably made the mistakes that I just talked about when I reached out to Dan the first time. It was probably too long, but it worked, and we did millions of dollars together in business. But I would probably reach out and say, hey, Dan, it's Matt from Learn and Master Guitar. I'd love to, I'm new to the industry, and I'd love to, chat sometime. Let me know if, when's a good time for you. Or, hey, Dan, it's Matt. I actually have some really cool ideas for how we could send each other some business without cannibalizing our own sales. Do you have some time to talk in the next week or two? It's 2 sentences, right? In most industries, that'll work. Most industries are pretty, most industries don't have a ton of, people. There's, it's not like they're talking to their competitors every single week and they're like, oh, I talked to a competitor last week, No, nobody does that. And so, it's very short, very sweet. And then it's just the follow-up. Like I said, we do 10 times over the course of the first 3 months. Then usually we'll press pause for about 2 or 3 months, and then we'll do 10 more times, because sometimes people just aren't, they're going through a season of life where they're not checking their mail or whatever. Like I said, if it's a high value prospect, we'll move to things like physical packaging. We'll try different modes. We'll email them 3 times, then Facebook message them, and then, email them 2 times, then Instagram message them, and then we'll email 2 more times, then reach out on LinkedIn. And then when we take that break, then in the next round, we'll focus on, more LinkedIn or more whatever. We'll see, we'll look at them, we're like, they haven't tweeted in a year and a half. We'll probably just remove Twitter from, we'll probably just not DM them on Twitter. But if they're super engaged, it's like, wow, they've responded to 56 people in the last week on Twitter. Let's just open message them on Twitter. Let's just @message them. We'll do the research and try to figure out what's going to be the best way to reach out to them. We'll look and see who they're friends with on Facebook and go, man, they know so-and-so. So-and-so comments on, they had a 5-message exchange with so-and-so on a Facebook post, and I'll reach out to Brian. I did this just recently with my friend Brian Dixon. I said, hey, Brian, can you give me an intro to Jennifer? He did. Now Jennifer and I know each other, and bada boom, bada bing. And like after trying to engage with this person for months and with no success, like that, we have success. And so you just have to keep, it's really just persistence, to be honest.
For sure. 100%. So I love that you talked about the different types of affiliates. You said customers, competitors, and then competing affiliates or competitors affiliates. What I picked up there is that your pitch to each one is different. And I think that this is super
very different,
right? Because it's all about what's in it for them. And you got to really understand that, I think anyway, but especially when you get out of the internet marketing world, so to speak, and you're trying to run a partner program versus an affiliate partner program, right? It's more you scratch my back, I'll scratch yours. And a lot of times there are a lot of competitors, and you got to figure out what is the symbiotic way that we can do this without cannibalizing, like you said, the list, right? How can we do this in a way that actually makes sense? So I thought you had some really, really good takeaways there.
Yeah, I mean, I want to, like, it works in almost every niche. It really does. If you collect contact information and somebody doesn't buy from you, then try something at a different price point. Now, if you have a product suite, which most companies actually don't, really. But if you have a product suite, if you make I'm looking at a tripod right now in my studio. So if you have a $50 tripod, that one's probably about $120. You have a $50, $120, a $500, and a $2,000. I don't know how on earth you would ever have a $2,000 tripod, but let's just say you do. Probably a bad example, but let's roll with it. You may never need to promote a competitor. But what if you don't have, I've just happened to have it on my desk. It's totally not an advertisement for them, although I should, and I should have an affiliate link. I think I do. I just don't know what it is. But what if you don't make a handheld one, like this little guy, the SwitchPod. What if you don't make a handheld and you have no intention of making one? And then you reach out to your audience and you say, you haven't bought any of our tripods. You subscribe to our videos about how to make better videos, but you haven't bought one of our tripods. And you just ask this question, and you have 3 links. Why haven't you bought our tripod? Why haven't you bought one of our tripods? Link number 1, I already have a tripod and it works great. Link number 2, actually I already own one of yours. And link number 3, I need a different kind of tripod than what you have. And when they click link number 3, it goes to a page and says, okay, what kind of tripod do you need? Do you need a handheld? Yes, I do. Then you promote the SwitchPod. And now you've taken this customer from somebody who's going to make you exactly $0 into, I think you make $10 off of them. Which is probably about what you make selling them your cheapest tripod, in terms of, see, that's the cool thing about it is you make $10. Okay, maybe you make 17 selling them your cheapest tripod, but with this one, you don't have to do any of the customer service. You don't have to do any of that. And now you've got, with this company, because I know for a fact that's the only kind of tripod that, Pat and Caleb make. So what if they're promoting and they're saying, why haven't you bought the SwitchPod yet? Well, it's because I really need a bigger, more sturdier tripod that I can use outside that'll stay put, because this one's, it's meant for handheld or like desktop. It's not the big kind. So that's what they need. So they do the same thing. And now they sell some of your $200, or whatever I said, $120 tripods. I mean, neither one of you is hurting your own sales in any way, shape, or form. In fact, you might actually be helping it, because if the reason why they haven't started producing videos is because they haven't found the right inexpensive handheld tripod, and you help them solve that problem, now they get a following on YouTube. Now what do they need, 9 months later? A bigger one and a better one, because they have the money to buy it. So it actually works out really well. Like I said earlier, 22% of those people that Dan Dinley sent us were people that we had originally referred to him.
I love that.
That never probably would have bought anything from us.
It's the Ascension model without you actually having to create the product. It's beautiful.
Mm-hmm. And I will say this is the other thing it teaches you. We're not talking about promoting other people, but one of the lessons we learned was we really needed to create, we proved concept. About 2.5 years after we started working with Dan, we created our own blues guitar course.
Yep.
And it proved it too. We could have been like, I think that would do popular. Oh, you could survey. If I created a blues guitar course, would you pay $99 for it? Surveys can be, you saw the 2016 election. Basically, it was surveys, right, that were wrong. That happens all the time. But if we actually sell $250,000 to $500,000 worth of Dan's blues guitar course That's proof of concept that if we made the same product, we'd probably sell just as many, if not more.
Love it. So we've talked so far about where to find customer or where to find affiliates, how to pitch them. I think kind of the last pillar, and tell me if I'm missing something, but I think that the last pillar is how do you manage, how do you retain them, how do you keep them happy, right?
Yeah.
How do you get them to keep sending you traffic versus, hey, yeah, I sent that one email and it's over, right? Like, thanks, but see you later. We see a lot of that in our world.
Yeah, that is the big thing. It's the secret sauce of what we teach. There's really a couple pillars inside of that pillar, I guess. Number one is just great relationships. Know thy affiliates is what I always say. You can't know every single one of them. If you build, when I worked with Shutterfly or Adidas, for example, we had hundreds of thousands of affiliates. I did not know all of them. I knew our top couple hundred, though. I knew that, it wasn't the 80-20, it was like the 95-5. 95% of sales were going to come from 5% affiliates. So I knew the 5%. I knew that 5% or 2% or whatever. I knew every one of them. And to this day, I still I know their email addresses, and I know, I still communicate with a bunch of them. We're not even doing business together. And I still, I still have in my calendar, have their birthdays. Every day I have about two birthday reminders pop up, and I'm shooting a couple texts to people, or giving them a call, wishing them a happy birthday. Know them, know their relationships. It's all the basic stuff that we learn, right? If you're in sales, right? Don't say, how's your wife doing? Say, how's Catherine doing? It's a little thing like that. If you say, how's your wife? I'm like, you don't even know me. All you know is that I have a wife. You know that I am married. Congratulations. You can figure that out by looking at a picture of me on my website. Where, by the way, underneath that picture, there is a caption that says my wife's name. And you mean to tell me you didn't manage to pick that up and write it down? So know their wife's names. Know that they homeschool versus know what their favorite sport is. Know where they went to school. And if you can't remember this stuff, go to their freaking LinkedIn profile before you talk to them. A little trick, I would keep all these little things. And so it's I remember back in 2011, when I'm trying to think who won that year. Was it? It was 2011 when UConn beat Butler in the national championship game, NCAA Final Four. And I specifically remember before the game, I made a list of everyone I knew that went to UConn, 3 people, and went to Butler, 1. And I knew no matter what, that night I was going to be texting 3 people or 1 person. Actually, I ended up texting all 4. Because I texted the guy from who went to Butler and just man, what a great game! It was so close, right? But little things like that. It's just relationships. That's number 1. Nothing will ever trump those conversions. And ultimately, what affiliates care about and all partners care about is if I send, let's just say 1,000 people to you, how much am I going to make per person? If I send 1,000 people to you, you convert let's just say it's a medium end product. It's not a super high. It's not a multi-$1,000 product where you might convert 1 or 2%. And it's not toilet paper where you convert 70% of the people, right? So it's a $100 product. So you're going to convert 50 out of 1,000 people. And let's just say, for argument's sake, let's just say it's a 20% commission on $100. So that's $20 times 50. If I'm doing the math right, I think it's 1,000. Is that rough? I don't know. Yeah, that's good. Okay, good math there. So I'm going to make $1,000 on 1,000 people. It's $1 per person. That's actually pretty decent. Anything north of about $1.50 is really good. So you're just looking at the math and going, hey, okay, I'm going to make this much money. But if I promote this other person and I make twice as much money, that's a problem. So we either have to adjust the commission or you've got to have better conversions. And so you want to convert well. You want to have good commissions. People ask me all the time, how do I determine the commissions? You have to account for cost of goods. So we have a whole formula. You subtract cost of goods. You subtract, things. And cost of goods is incremental cost of goods. So I'll give you an example. If every one of these I make costs me $20, then every time I sell one, it costs me $20. If I shoot a course and it costs me $25,000 to produce the course, I spent $25,000 whether I sell 1 or 1,000, So that doesn't count. If I have to buy lights for a studio, that doesn't count, as a cost of goods. So your incremental cost of goods. If I have to hire a coach for every 400 people I sign up and I pay that coach $40,000, that's a cost of goods at, $100 per person. $100 every time I sell a course costs me $100 for a coach. That's a reasonable. So you subtract that. But ultimately, really what it comes down to is if your competition's at 25%, you'd better darn well be between at least 20. You can get away paying a little bit less than the competition, maybe. If you're the new guy, you probably can't. And in fact, what we recommend typically is you find a way to match the competition, even if it kills your margins. Like, you can't lose money, of course, but even if you're like, man, I mean, I'm only going to make 7%. Well, it's 7% of something versus 100% of nothing. Not to mention, as you get better, as you improve your conversions, and as you improve and as you cut your costs, that 7% will become 8, will become 9, will become 10, will become 11. And eventually you can actually pay more and run the competition out. We've done that. Like, I've done that in one business where we just came in and we paid our affiliates so much, we didn't make very much. And it kind of sucked for about the first 6 months. But eventually we actually literally caused an entire our biggest competitor to shut down their affiliate program. They could not compete. We knew that. We knew their cost of goods were too high, and we knew that they were not willing to not make a certain amount of money. And eventually we forced them to close their affiliate program. So we got all of their affiliates. And by that point, we had optimized things to the point where we're making a lot of money, but now we were making 20% of a crap ton as opposed to whatever we would have made if we'd had a lower commission. And so, just serving them, making sure they're converting, making sure they're making money, knowing them, relationships 101. It's all that stuff. I mean, whether you manage it in a spreadsheet or in a CRM, calendar reminders. I mean, this thing right here, I call it the magic rectangle. I mean, this thing right here, it tells me when I need to do everything. Right now, it's reminding me that I need to write my kids some notes for the day. Also, I need to order shoes. I need some new gym shoes. So it's like the magic rectangle. It tells me when to do stuff and what to do. And it's like, so I don't care how you manage it. You can use a task manager. You can use Asana or Trello. It doesn't matter. But as long as you're maintaining those relationships. And so for me, it was just a rhythm of every day I was reaching out to 5 people. I'd reach out to 5 people that were already affiliates and serve them. I also had a rhythm to reaching out to new affiliates. Typically, we reach out to about 10 to 15 new affiliates every single week, just on end, nonstop every single week, just consistently. I try not to reach out to 50 one week and then none the next, but it's just that rhythm. Every day I'm going to reach out to 5 people. I'm going to shoot 5 people. Sometimes it is the simplest stuff. It's like, I'll go to their Facebook profile and see that their kid won a Little League, championship. And it's like, dude, saw your post on Facebook. That's awesome. Like, that's it. Something that just makes them feel, okay, Matt actually gives a flying crap about me, because I do.
I love that. Yeah, it's all about the wisdom. It's all about
I wish it were more complicated. Like, I could probably sell more stuff, but it is relationships 101. And and like I said, the conversions and the commissions are important, but it ultimately comes down to just relationship management.
For sure. I love the recommendation to figure out how to match what other people are paying, right? Because if you can do that, it becomes a whole lot easier, and it's not just a relationship, right? And people are greedy. Right? It takes a while to build a relationship. And so I find if you can match the commissions, it works out a whole lot faster. I'm not saying don't build a relationship, but it makes it a whole lot harder for somebody to say no immediately while you're building. I want to
say one more thing on that, Joe, actually. If you can, find a way to stand out. So if there's a way, so I'll give you an example. Some of our front-end funnels, so we have a funnel where the first offer is $37, the next offer is $97, the final offer is $1,000 or $2,000 depending upon the funnel. We pay 80% commission on the $37 and the $97 products. That means you make no money. First of all, we pay Facebook about 105% commission. We're paying about 100, or make whatever 37 plus 97 is. We're paying $5 more than that to acquire them. We're willing to do that because then we make all of the, when we sell the $1,000, of course. But it's mainly a way to stand out, and it's 80% on $140. We're only paying the standard 40% commission on the $1,000 or $2,000 product, but it's something where the affiliates go, whoa, 80%? That's almost insane. And so it's a way to kind of cut through the clutter to stand out to prospective affiliates. It also allows us, on occasion, we'll run a promotion where we're paying 100% commissions. So I think we're going to do that in October, actually, for the month of October on a specific funnel. And then I think next January or February, we'll do it on a different funnel. So about every quarter-ish, we'll do 100% commissions. And it's 100% commission on the first 2 things of the funnel. And technically we lose money because we have to pay the credit card processing fee.
Yeah.
But it's just a way of getting people, and sales go up. And then sure enough, what happens the following month when we then pitch them on the higher thing? We sell a crap ton of them. And
Yep.
so it cost us what? An extra 20%? It's still cheaper than Facebook. It's still
100%.
cheaper than everything else we can do, and it gets them excited. And here's the thing. It's not like if we do that in October, it's not like they just turn off their promo on November 1st. That promo, the lift in November, all the way through the following, when we do the promotion again, it'll eventually begin to teeter off a little bit, but it's so
Yep.
much higher in November than it was in September, all because we did something in October. And so it didn't cost us any money. It actually makes us money, but we'll just
I
do
love
that.
that.
It's only an extra 20%. So there's little things you can do. We didn't get a chance to talk about that, but like as far as like the ongoing stuff, it's all about keeping up their excitement, keeping them engaged. We call them ETMs or ETPs, excuses to mail, excuses to promote. We're looking for just like, it could be anything. I mean, it could literally be like, we did one this year. It was like, hey, it's Matt's birthday. So we're doubling commissions all weekend long.
Yeah, I love that.
Double commissions. Why? I don't know, because it's Matt's birthday. It was an ETP. It's Labor Day weekend, so we're doubling commission. Like you could do stuff like that. It doesn't. Just do it for fun. Make up
doesn't
stuff,
matter.
try stuff out, see what works for your affiliates and for for your company.
We've done some stuff. I love the 100%. We've done some stuff for big affiliates when we're doing pushes or contests, and just been like, all right, great. So you're here, you get to here, and we're gonna give you 100%, but we're gonna prorate it back to your first sale, because then the money's huge, and then they're like, wait, what? Like they just lose their mind. Like it's a feeding frenzy. So it's just like, so we don't promise it at first. We'll get them on board. We'll get them excited. We'll get them competing, get their egos involved, right? And then we'll put that out, and that's worked really, really well.
Yep. And the beauty of that, like you just mentioned, a really cool, like that's a one-on-one engagement. That's not every affiliate gets this, but like we'll look at these numbers. So we're about at that time where we'll do this. We'll look at where an affiliate is through Q3 compared to Q3 of last year. Let's just say through Q3 of last year, they sent 100 sales. Through Q3 of this year, they sent 150. So they're down 25%. We'll look at their total for last year. So you got to kind of write these numbers down or picture them mentally. Total last year, they made 300. We will say, hey, last year you made 300 sales. Now they're down this year. So they're on pace to do like 240. We don't tell them that. We'll say, hey, last year you hit 300. If you beat that by even one sale, I'm going to give you a $25,000 bonus or a $5,000. It just depends on of course, again, if you're selling toilet paper, don't do a $25,000 bonus. But if you're selling a $2,000 course, $25,000 bonus. If you match your number, they're like, holy freaking crap. Now here's what happens. This is the beauty of that. First of all, nobody ever lands on exactly 301. One of three things typically happens. Really one of two. They push, they hit 342. They hit 321. So you only paid that $25,000 bonus on the 60 sales that they were from where they were going to make to the 300. The other 21 sales were free. Essentially, you pay the commission, but you make, so now you got an extra. You go, well, that's 25,000. I mean, that's a lot of money. Yeah, but on an extra 81 sales, if it's a $2,000 course, for example, 81 sales, and you're making 12, you're paying a 40% commission. You're making 12, so you're making what, $96,000, and you're paying 25,000. It's a pretty good deal. Or they push, and instead of 240, they hit 288. They missed the goal. You pay nothing, and you made an extra $60,000 just because you gave them a goal to shoot for. And those are the type of things where it's like you can do these things and you can get a little crazy with it. We'll do the same kind of thing. It's like we'll look at the numbers. Let's say it's during a product launch. So it's a 5-day, launch sequence, right? And 3 days in, we know from their past performance and from our macro level, performance, that 3 days in, we're at about 45%. That's normally where we'd be, for this particular promo. And so we're looking at, and they're at 45 sales. So they're on pace for 100. We'll look at it and say, you're on pace for 100 sales. If you hit 120, we'll give you a $20,000 bonus. Again, they're not going to hit 120. They're going to hit 137, or they're going to hit 111 and die trying. And either way, we make extra money.
It's a win.
And so little things like that go a long, long way, man.
Love it, man. So we talked about where to find affiliates, how to pitch them, how to manage and keep affiliates. Is there anything that you're like, man, I'd be remiss, Joe, if we didn't talk about this? Or is there anything that we didn't hit? I think we did a really good job.
I mean, I think the big thing is just to do it. I mean, you got to, I hope I made the case. There's no
for sure.
Cheaper, lower risk, more scalable way to grow your business than to have an affiliate program. And it's like, I just say all the time, I'm like, I'm not saying that every small business, that every 6 and 7 and even 8-figure entrepreneur should follow what the Walmarts of the world and what the Targets of the world and what the Best Buys of the world are doing, what Amazon's doing. But they all have affiliate programs. Like, not only do the mom and pops have affiliate programs, not only can you go to an affiliate network like ShareSale and find 10,000 programs. You look at these companies that were mom and pops. I think of Fanatics. I don't know if you know who Fanatics is, but I've known Fanatics. I know the guys who run their affiliate program. They're actually dear friends of mine. They were running it when it was like a $5 million affiliate program. Their affiliate program was almost the same size as the company I was running in 2010. Just helping them out. Like it was, I got them from about 1.2, I think, to 1.4 to like just $4.5 million. And Fanatics was barely bigger than us. Fanatics is a massive company now, all on the backs of affiliates. That was 100% of their growth to be able to get to the point where they could do branding, where they actually had the pockets to be able to do branding, and the pockets to be able to run Facebook ads, and the pockets to be able to run television ads and banner ads. That all came because they had an affiliate program that was making them a massive amount of profit. And so all these companies have affiliate programs. That should tell us something.
Yeah.
And I have never once had a niche or a price point that doesn't work. So start an affiliate program. I feel like you have to.
For sure. And I think the only thing is that in some cases, some people don't want to be compensated. It sounds strange, right? But sometimes there's ulterior motives, or there's motives that are stronger than the affiliate payment. Mm-hmm. And what you have to understand is, who is that partner, or what do they want? And that's why I say it's not just an affiliate program. It can be a partner program. Yeah. We, one of the companies that I own does white label fulfillment for agencies. Everybody that we work with are resource partners. They're agency coaches. They just want, when they help somebody get a client, that they have a safe pair of hands to actually get the fulfillment done. Mm-hmm. Because if they don't, they're leaving, they're gone. Like the person can't keep the deal. They don't get the return on investment, and they don't want their hands dirty, so to speak. They just want a safe pair of hands to do the job so they can retain the customer long term. So just put yourself in their shoes and figure out what they want, and that'll go a long way. I think that this can be used for a traditional affiliate program. It can be used for a partner program, either of those terms. And I think you'd be remiss not to really, take a look at this strategy. So Matt, dude, this has been freaking amazing. We'll make sure and link up to the free report in the show notes so that everybody can see it. And then to wrap this up, man, one question. Instead of asking you to recommend 3 books, I do something a little different on the show. I feel like that's overplayed on every podcast out there.
I'm glad you're not asking that, because I cannot recommend only 3 books. There's like about 100 that have completely transformed my life. So I'm glad you're not asking that question.
Well, good. So let's dial it in a little bit. What's the one book that, as you look at your business today, you think has made the biggest impact, and why?
It's got to be such a cliche answer, but it's got to be Influence by Robert Cialdini.
Perfect. Why?
I mean, that book has. So I'm actually looking at a book that I'm getting ready to read for about the 7th or 8th time, just to kind of go through it. Is How to Win Friends and Influence People. That was the book that kind of got me started. What Cialdini did was took that book and added, for that part of my brain that kind of relies on the fact. Like, I can read How to Win Friends and Influence People and go, yeah, that passes the smell test, but where's the psychological evidence for that? And Influence has that. So it's like, the thing about Influence, that's what I'll say about Influence. It's the best marketing book ever written. It's not a marketing book. Okay. Mm-hmm. It's the best customer service book ever written. It's not a customer service book. It's the best sales book ever written. It's not a sales book. It is the best parenting book ever written. It is not a parenting book. It is the best marriage book ever written, and it's not a marriage book. That's saying a lot about a book. I mean, it's all about influence. It's all about persuasion, and it's got the nerdy stuff that really appeals to that nerdy side of me, the psychological studies and all that, and I can kind of geek out on that, but it's also got the practical applications. And I mean, it's also the book that led me into that world, learning about persuasion, learning about reading all of his other books. So it's like, if he hadn't written Influence, I wouldn't have read Yes, and I wouldn't have read The Small Big, and I wouldn't have read Persuasion. I wouldn't have read any of his other books. I wouldn't have that. So, and it's been the lens through which I have read every other marketing or sales, and I've read at least 200 marketing, sales, and entrepreneurial books. That book has become the lens through which I see all those, and I see like nobody's teaching anything that Robert Cialdini didn't write about. It's actually very rare. It's fascinating. You watch like, if you do your webinar this way, I'm like, yeah, that's like page 82 of Influence. And I can remember these things, I'm like, yeah, he wrote about that in Yes, and he referenced what he wrote in Influence, so that's the book, man. It's got to be Influence.
That's awesome, man. Definitely will have to check that out. I haven't read that book of Cialdini's. I've read a couple others. We'll definitely check that out. Matt, man, thank you so much. If somebody wants to reach out and connect with you personally, is there a place that they would find you on social media that you're most active?
Just if you go to mattmcwilliams.com/Facebook, I'd redirect to my Facebook page. Just reach out to me there and hit me up on Facebook and say, hey.
All right, man. Thanks so much. I really appreciate it. I know everybody's going to love this episode. Guys, again, I can't talk about this enough. You would be remiss if you don't do this. This is a playbook in every one of the companies that I'm working with, I'm coaching, I'm running, I'm investing in, and you should be as well. I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. Joe Troyer signing out.
Thanks for tuning in and showing me the nuggets. If you've been enjoying the podcast and find our content helpful, please visit our Apple Podcast page, hit the subscribe button, and leave us a review. Joe and the whole team have been working hard to bring more value to the show. Your feedback will go a long way in helping us make the show better and reach a wider audience.